Hey, happy Saturday, everybody. Welcome to another episode. Good morning, yes. Welcome to another episode of the Fins Faithful Podcast. We are live on Countdown to Game Day here, as always on Saturdays, countdown to the Dolphins-Brown game this Sunday. And there's a lot of buzz. Trade talk swirling. Winds will be swirling. Crazy wind conditions will be shaping this game. And yeah, we got some bold predictions and some keys to the game before kickoff you want to hear. So, let's get into it. Let's dive into it. Pull up a chair, Dolphin fans. Of course, we are live with you guys on YouTube. Make sure you drop those likes. Help support the channel. We appreciate it. Little subscribe button, little bell. It takes a second. It really helps us here. And, of course, the chat, keep it flooded. We love it. And Jason knows I love the video description on the bottom after the show. Under the video, I love to read the comments. We appreciate it. Gentlemen, good morning. How you doing? Not only I have both co-hosts, my Saturday and my Wednesday co-host with me, Jason, Sonny, and Curtis. Good morning, fellas.
Hey, guys.
Morning, Dolphins. How are you?
Good morning.
Great to see Curtis.
Curtis in the house. Curtis in the chat already saying morning. Then we got
yeah, man.
What's up, Kenny? How you doing? All right, boys. We can get to the game. I mean, I will say this. All these X's and O's, this wind gust and winds, and the weather's going to change a lot of things. This, unfortunately, we'll get into it.
Dude, listen, either A, we've eaten the largest bag of black cats, or that building the stadium on the Indian burial ground is true, because we don't even know what luck is, except if it's reverse bad luck. This weather is like, hey, you know what? I'm the football gods. I've just come down to say, screw you. Screw you.
Unfortunately, we'll get into the game plan, the X's and O's, and something surprisingly the Browns do good or do bad. There's a few surprising stats in this game, actually. It's actually pretty intriguing for it's kind of like the strengths of the one. You know, it's a really, really great defense. And versus the Browns have a really bad offense. So which one wins out? Dolphins defense is really bad. It's kind of contrary strengths here. So we'll get into it all. It's kind of interesting, but the winds will favor the Browns here. I mean, heavily.
And the rain.
Because
that's going to make that OZ outside run cutback and maneuverability very,
there's a couple
very less than good.
As I've gone through it, there's a couple keys that I thought, well, if you can do this, but the weather might really change. So we'll always preface by saying if the weather,
and it's definite rain.
Yeah, how bad will it be? I think that's going to be the question. But we'll have a few videos of the run defense showing you not only the defensive tackles, it's pretty much everything. The edge, the personnel, the run fits, the coach, everything. So we'll get into 3 videos that kind of amplify that with the Chargers game when you let the practice squad running back from UPS get over 120 yards for 2. But we mentioned wind swirling. Fellas, there's some trade wind swirling with the Dolphins.
Ooh, well done, George.
You like that, huh? I figured you would appreciate that.
I love a good pun. Love a weather pun.
Yeah. I figured you would appreciate it. But, there's a lot of stuff going on there. They're shopping Jaden Phillips, Bradley Chubb, and they're even taking calls on Waddle, A-Chain. I forget the other name. I think those are it. And, the Giant stuff, the Instagram post. Did he like this or did he take down this? And all different reporters from New York talking about Waddle to the Giants. Here's what I'll say. What concerns me most about this is, what does this say if it's somewhat true? Because where there's smoke, there's fire, right? What does it say about
especially in Miami?
Yeah, yes. What does it say about Greer's future next year? Does this mean he's in the building? We talked about this, Curtis, Jason, that he might not necessarily be in the GM role, right? But he'll be in a promoted executive role, some crazy role, and there'll be a new GM. That's what concerns me most about all this, because I don't want Chris Greer handling any more draft picks. If you want to trade, you already made the decision. You're not going to sign Phillips. Okay, I trust Greer to make a good trade. He likes to get the most for his return. He can do that. But especially the Waddle and A-Chain stuff. And I was reading with the Giants reporter, some podcast. Oh, they're asking for the 3rd round pick or 2nd and 5th. If it's 5% true, and there's not a number 1 in front of that round, don't even talk. not even considering it. We're not even, and that's at least for Waddle. I don't care if you think it's an overpay. This stuff, you don't do this in season. I can wait till the offseason when we're settled. We have more clarity on the front office, coaching, who's making the decisions. And A-Chain, Stu, I said A-Chain, you can probably most of the second round pick. Guess what? If you're going to do it now, there better be a 1 in front of that for me. Russ, I'm not even listening. And who knows how true these are, but this stuff can wait in the offseason. I don't think they'll move Waddle or A-Chain, but it's out there. I want to get your fellas' take on it. We'll start with you, Jason. Do you agree with that sentiment here? Like, let's not, if you want to move the Chubbs, I get it. The Phillips, I get it. You want to move a Sealer or Waller, but the A-Chain and the Waddles, you'd have to blow my doors off.
This was a very interesting week on social media. You have a lot of reporters saying that it never happened. You have some reporters who are outside the market saying that this team called the Dolphins, this trade. No reporter is going to know what is on the table outside of market. Yeah, they're going to know that we offered a 3rd and a 7th. No, this is ridiculous. So there's a lot of fabrication. There's a lot of ridiculousness going on. But I do not think that Waddle should be moved. I do not think that A-Chan should be moved. While I understand the sentiment, I mean, if they lose this game, really all bets should be off, But going back to what you said about Greer, and I understand that nobody wants him making picks, but there's something that you have to kind of understand, which I think even the biggest Greer hater can kind of agree with. He has a ton of relationships. He has relationships in this business, and that's what this is about, especially in trade markets and calling, is relationships and past dealings. He's not bad at getting value, sending out players. This is a man who turned Isaiah Ford into a draft pick. This is a man who turned Dan Feeney into a draft pick, and he got an absolute gold haul for Laramie Tunsil. Not saying that worked out. I hear you.
It should have, though, but it was a good trade.
It was a great – this is my point. When he happens to, gun to head, have to negotiate, hey, we'll give you a 7th. No, give me a 6th. Okay. You know what I mean? Like, it's that simple in how he can turn a player into a decent return for draft capital. Now, do I want him doing that? Well, he's not bad at it, but that's part of his job right now. I mean – you could get tasked to do a job even if you're a dead man walking in a company. I mean, if you're a controller going into tax season and your job's on the line, you still got to get through tax season and then you might get fired. You know what I'm saying? Like, he should still do what is a decent part of his responsibilities. And who knows what's going to happen, once we get to January, February, especially March, April. But the whole rumors, they're rumors, Some people are saying this, some people are saying that. To me, it's been entertaining. I love seeing this ridiculous fighting and this arguments of this or that or the other thing. And it's hilarious to me when I see Buffalo Bills saying that, yeah, we're going to get Waddle. No, you're not. Chris Greer is not trading Jalen Waddle to their biggest rival who could be the final piece. If he does that, that's egregious. That is ridiculous. I don't care if they overpay. You do not give a 3-year remaining contract player to a rival and still seeing him this year. So you're going to see him, at least 7 times? The fan base will burn down. They'll go dig up the Kesta Indians and they'll have a freaking horror film. No chance he's getting traded in division. And if he does, the place will burn down. People will be burning, and I don't endorse burning jerseys or anything, but that's what it will come to if the Buffalo Bills acquire Jalen Waddle. You don't make that call. If the Buffalo Bills call you, you say, are you kidding? Good luck to you. Hang up. But that's the extent also of trade negotiations. A team like the Giants, this is the extent of a negotiation. I've joked around with George and other, podcasts before. Hey, Curtis, how you doing? Good morning. Jalen Waddle available? Curtis, say no.
No.
Okay, thanks. There was the interest shown, and that's it.
Or call me back and say, hey, well, Jason will offer you our first round pick this year. That could be, in the top 12.
You know what I like to do in fantasy?
I'll listen a little bit.
You know what I like to do in fantasy? I know this is completely ridiculous. When someone offers a very bad trade, I offer a 15 times counter worst trade for them. I'll say, all right, you want to do things like this? I'll trade you my backup running back for your starting quarterback, starting receiver, and starting running back. You know, it's not going to happen. Stupidity.
So we're in agreement. Waddle and A-Chain, you don't do that kind of crazy trade during the season. Again, let me have more clarity. If they actually do what I think they should do and reset the whole thing, change the paint in the walls, change the secondary, the dog walker, whoever, the guy who installs the key to get in the door, everything. And you get clarity, and the guy says, look, he's a viable candidate, and he has total control, and he says, we want a different direction. Enough of this small offensive players. We can get value for a speed running back. In the offseason, you could sell me on that, right? Like you could talk me, but not right now. But Jason, before we get to Curtis, to listen, what's got to be the price for you to even listen?
For Waddle?
Yeah.
Multiple picks, one of them being a first round, and the second pick has to be at worst a fourth, and I'd accept it in 2027.
Okay. And I'm sorry, I got to have a first rate chain to consider it as well. I wouldn't do it, but that's probably not his value. But to force me to move early, I just wouldn't give. I just don't want to make that decision on those type of
for HN, the only way I think they can get a first round pick is if there is a predetermined agent working where there's going to be an extension or a re-signing completely evident. For example, just throwing an example, Kansas City trades or sends a first round and a fifth round for HN, but they already know, and every party knows that there's going to be a 3-year extension that goes along with it, because you're not going to spend a first round pick for a 1.5-year player and change. You know what I'm saying? So Waddle has 3 years left on a contract, right? Yeah. HN does not. He will be a free agent after next season. So again, not saying these are guys that you should trade, but there has to be some sort of a set market price, and there's a lot of things that go into it. And they're going to Bradley Chubb, he's coming off injury and he's got a very expensive contract. So the Dolphins are going to have to pay for that in probably lack of very good compensation, which is why I tweeted you should maybe attach a pick that you own to Chubb, a fourth, a fifth, to see if you could bump that up. Because right now, Bradley Chubb alone is a 5th round value, probably, So you throw in a 3rd and a 5th from 2027, maybe you get a higher end pick, but semantics.
Yeah. Curtis, your thoughts on all this?
Well, look, we're in between, between a rock and a hard, between boulders, man. And it's just so very difficult because next year is going to be cap constricted. You don't have much talent in the building. You've got a quarterback you've invested a ton in, whether you like him or not. It doesn't matter. He's an expensive quarterback in a total rebuild, so he doesn't fit. So what do you do? Look, Waddle and HN, if you wait till next season, you probably can build better value on them as long as they don't get hurt. And you probably shouldn't move them unless your socks are blown off, your hair's blown back, and whatever. But you've got to move off Phillips, because Phillips, he's a free agent, so that guy's got to get moved for whatever. You ain't re-signing him. I mean, he's just not happening. So you got to get rid of him. I would get rid of Sealer because he's just not going to be here. And you can see where he's at. There's something going on, whether it's physical, mental. He's just not playing like he has in the past. And, I don't know what that deal is. You could probably get some good value for him. And I hate to see him go, but this team is not going to be ready until 27, 28. All right. 27 would be like the miracle mile. We get some brilliant people in here, which I think my personal opinion is Chris Greer. He's going to get demoted and then promoted, and he's going to hang out with the Garfunkel, Money Man, and Ross being the guys that have influence over Champ Kelly and Allen. It's just not going. It's going to be like moving deck chairs on Titanic. So maybe he's here. It's still possible, but he's going to be here no matter what. I don't see him ever leaving the building. It might appear that way, like Shakespeare, nay, seems is, madam. It's just like it is no seems. It is. He's going to be here. That's that. And so you just got to hope. I think no matter what, removing Greer from the actual picking portion, which I'm hoping that happens, is going to be addition by subtraction. But you got to move off certain pieces. Seal is a piece you need to move off of because it ain't making a difference this year. Not going to be around the long term. And then and Phillips is another guy. I don't know if you're going to be able to get off Chubb. Who's going to want this guy? We're going to have to either eat lots of money or, as Jason say, put in some picks to get it up, which is fine. But you get off him. I forgot what it's like. It's like 10, at least 10 or something million on your dead cap. We're going to be back to 50 something million dead cap next year. We are in like Poopsville. So yeah, look, unless something happens major with Achane and Waddle, I would get off Waddle. I'm sorry. He's just always injured. He's always looking like he's injured. He's got a great contract. Yep. He's not older now, but I would. It's the NFL's not really about that. It'd be great if we had one big receiver and he could create the leverage and stuff. But man, you look at Smith, that Devontae Smith, who we could have had. He's never really injured. He's constantly always producing. And so to me, yeah, we spent too much on him. I think we got a good contract now. Achane, I love Achane, but can you, at some point, I think it's going to be not probably wise to keep him that long. He's going to want tons of money. He's injured often too. And if you're not ready into 2028, how many more bangs is this guy going to get? I love him if he'd stay healthy. If he was like Mr. Healthy, I would say keep him no matter what. But there's just always that risk. So I don't know. It's just who the hell knows. But we got to move off some of these guys.
Yeah, and Jamie, shout out to everybody in the chat. Cap, Finn, Jamie, everybody's in the chat. Kenny, if you're watching anywhere else, come on over to YouTube. Drop that thumbs up. We're breaking it. We're gonna break down the game. I promise. But we, like I said, not the win is not the only thing swirling right now. We got a bunch of trade stuff going on. We're trying to sift through what's real, what's not. What would it take? What would you do? Would you wait? I agree with you. And Jamie says, "Wow, Jesus, 27, 28." You got to remember, this team's they're gonna get younger next year as well. This roster is going to be overall even more next year. Then you might get better if you do it right. You might get better the following year in 27, and then 28. If you did it right, you have a chance to compete. I mean, you never know. These things change like this. Teams have went from the bottom to the top. You just never know if you hit the right draft pick or you have an elite draft. I just don't know how confident I am in that. But yeah, I mean, it's and he says the 8-year cycles of hell my whole life since I was a kid. What I like to call it, the mediocrity merry-go-round of mediocrity. Trying to say that 10 times in a row is always tough. And I agree with you, Curtis. I'm not against moving off one. Like, I'm not against it. But this stuff I see for a third and a 5,
that's not worth it. You don't get off Waddle and 8 for a third and a 5. It's crazy.
Or even a 2 and a 5 for Waddle. He's 26 years old. He's been hurt, but he is a dynamic. I mean, you've seen the last few games. He's almost had 100 yards. He is a dynamic weapon in this league. And some team in the bottom of the first round, Kansas City, Baltimore, no, not Baltimore this year, but some team will fall in love with him and kind of and I agree with Sealer. Jason, I said in the Sealer time, I joked around, like, when is Sealer coming up? I just didn't see Sealer as a long-term piece. Jason, he's 30 years old, right? And in any sport, when you hit 30, things happen usually unless your name's a quarterback or you're Calais Campbell or Joe Flacco. Oh, by the way.
Controversial comment. Controversial comment coming up.
Alert.
Controversial. I love Zach Sealer. That's not the controversial comment. Here it comes. When he was succeeding the last 2 years, he was the only lineman to have 10-plus sacks. He's this, that, and the other thing. Again, I love Zach Sealer, but he's a better Robin than he is a Batman. Okay? Christian Wilkins, first-round draft pick. Zach Sealer, 7th-round draft pick waiver edition. Calais Campbell, Hall of Famer. Zach Sealer, 7th-round pick waiver edition. Again, I love Zach Sealer. He's a better Robin than Batman. We are seeing it now. If he was a first-round talent, again, I love Zach Sealer. I'm not insulting him or his skill, but if he were gifted and talented like the two players he's played with the last 2 years, the rookies probably would have fed off him. And even if he was the number one guy offenses were keen on, there would be, he'd elevate to Wilkins or Calais Campbell, and one of these rookies maybe have a fraction of 2023, 2004 Sealer. You know what I mean? But he hasn't had a good year. And I think that if they do trade him to a team where he becomes the second guy on the line, he might have a terrific back end of the 2025 season or next year. Some players just are who they are. And when people were saying that he was better than Christian Wilkins, I happen to take issue to that because I think that when he was healthy, Wilkins was a better overall skilled player, and they fed off each other in such a complimentary way. And I do still believe that when the Dolphins initially offered a low ball extension to Christian Wilkins a couple of years ago, it didn't work out. But the plan was to keep those two together as a tandem. That didn't happen. Wilkins bet on himself. They pivoted and said, all right, screw you. We're going to give Zach Sealer the money. So go ahead, test your free agency. It didn't work out for anybody. Didn't work out for anybody. 4 losses in that. The Dolphins, the Raiders, Wilkins, and Sealer. So unfortunately, if you would have offered a couple more $1 million in 2023 initially, we could have been still been seeing salt and pepper shaking it up. You like what I did there, George?
Yeah.
All right.
We still can see salt and pepper shaking it up.
But it ain't the same, man. It ain't the grinder like you pay $8.75 for.
You got
the 99 cents I got.
They went to the Dollar Tree and picked up now the salt shaking. One's white, one's
the grinder shaker. You love the grinder.
Yeah, that was the grinder.
The thing I want to add to that too is that if you look like this year, Zach Sealer has had 199 B gap snaps to 61 out over the LT. He is a D end in a 3-4 system. He's at his best in 4-5 and even 6. He's stranded in the B gap. And I've shown for years that when he gets that double, because he's so tall and rangy, that hip buckles. It's just not where he's at his best. And when you had Campbell, when you had Wilkins, they could play that 0, 1, 2, 3, and they would anchor the interior where he could be at his best. But currently, we don't have anyone. I do think Phillips is not bad, Jordan Phillips, but Grant's terrible. Benito Jones is terrible, and he's sitting in the because I don't know. So the thing is, we just don't know how to utilize guys, right? It's so clear that I remember him. I did film on him when he was going against Mekhi Becton many years ago at D tackle, and how he was because he's a guy who uses length, speed, agility, and power to get on these taller tackles. But when he gets inside, he gets doubled. He's got shorter guys with leverage, and he can't really utilize his talents as well. So I think I totally agree. He needs to be the Robin, but also he needs to be in a different position. We just don't seem to know, because we got all these guys. You got the Phillips and the Chubbs and the Chops, and they all kind of play that. So he gets put. We just don't know how to build.
You make a great point too. Some of the things, the chemistry that Campbell had with them, and understanding, okay, if Sealer does this, I got to do this. Those guys are young. They don't know yet. They're still trying to figure it out. And you said Phillips does an okay job. Grant, not as much.
He's on skates, dude.
Yeah, but
he comes in on skates.
We got 3 videos we're going to show in a little bit. It's not just the defensive tackle.
No.
We'll show all that. we'll wrap up the trade talk portion this year. What can you get for Phillips? Third? If a team's the contract's up, kind of like we do with Chubb, if the team says, I'm going to acquire him, but also want to sign him long-term, I'll start with you, Jason, third-round pick? Does that sound about right?
I think it would have to be a third-round pick because if you think about it, if it's in season, chances are it's a top 6, 7, 8 team bringing him in, a contender, which translates into like the 88th to the 96th-ish pick. So you're even close to a high fourth versus a standard very good third. You know what I mean? So the third has to be a bare minimum. And if a team is going to likely re-sign him, I would try, like I said earlier, to get multiple picks in a Chubb situation where you're also offering or you're also asking for a 2027 pick. Because that's what you have to take into account, too. It's like, all right, we're trading you Jalen Phillips for a Super Bowl run for you this year, and you're going to re-sign him for 4 years, and he's going to be a standard on your line or on your linebacking core. So we're going to need an extra. Give me a fifth, a conditional fifth in 2027. But then again, a team could say, yeah, you know what? We really like Jalen, but those injuries are a concern. We're renting him, blah, blah, blah. So it could be a fourth. But if I'm the Dolphins, I'd be very weary of a late fourth, because after the compensatory picks in the third, you're really going to be starting to look at like the 140th pick, 135th pick, which is, if we've seen, there's a big gap, and the success of those mid-round or later picks. I mean, recently, what could I tell you? So I would think that if a team is desperate and if they are a pass rusher away from literally becoming a Final Four contending team, it's going to have to be at the very least a third for Jalen.
Spin. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We're going to get into the game stuff here in a second, but
hey,
he says then keep him. We'll eat a third round compensatory.
In theory,
you want it now though. They want it
correct.
That's I think they don't want to wait because
then you run into the risk of an injury.
What do they say, Jason? Before when you wait a year, that the value goes down around. So a third round pick 2 years from now is really a fourth, right? There's some technically, but
look, if injuries happen week 7, the Dolphins lose to the Browns, and a contending team is like, oh man, one of our top 2 pass rushers just went down, and our depth is limited. You have to call that team up if you're Chris Greer, and you have to kind of put your boot on the neck and say, I got your guy. It's a third. When you agree, call me back. I'll get him on the next play now.
Yeah. Somebody will do it. Jalen's young enough. He's going. A team could say, "Hey, guess what? He's going to be a year removed from the injury. He's another year." And Curtis, he hasn't been playing bad this year.
No.
Chubb's got the stats, but he's actually played a lot better than Bradley Chubb, right?
Tell you what, you better hope that Bradley Chubb gets a sack on Cleveland, because then that value goes a tiny bit up. Someone's going to look at the stats and be like, all right, we got a sack producer. Right. So I don't know.
All right, should we get into this matchup, the Battle of Rock Bottom? I do think there's some interesting stuff as far as matchup-wise in this game. I really do. We'll get into it. And then we're going to play our fun over-under game. Jason, I didn't do bad. I don't think I did bad the last week. A lot of the stuff.
You kept score?
No. But during the game, I was watching Curtis and Jason. I think we actually hit we talked about how the Chargers are a field goal team. They don't score in the red zone a lot, and all this kind of stuff. And it was a close game. It'd be a field goal. We all thought it was going to be a field goal game one way or the other. So a little bit more higher scoring than I thought. But still, Jay, what's up? Shout out to everybody for joining us on this Saturday morning. We appreciate it. Waking up with us, having your cup of coffee. We appreciate everybody who's in the chat. Make sure you guys give it a thumbs up. Share the broadcast. Bring on everybody over here to YouTube. Watch with us and comment in the chat. Let us know what's going on, what you guys think of the trade stuff or the game. All right. So we talk about the wins, and I'm gonna preface it by saying everything depends on how bad this weather is, right? Let's start with the injury report. The Dolphins are pretty healthy, guys. Elijah Campbell's out, but like Dotson and Duck are questionable, but that's about it. They're relatively pretty healthy. The Browns, Njoku's out, but they got the young Harold Fenn Jr. kid, who I like a lot. I know you like him, Jason. That's the guy you're going to talk about here, Fenn Jr. Mason Graham, Kenneth Grant's running game. We talk running mate in college. We talk about Christian Wilkinson, Zach Sealer. We better hope that it wasn't Mason Graham making Kenneth Grant look good, because Mason's done, he's done pretty good. The Browns have had a pretty good draft class, by the way. Really good. And you know how I feel about Schlesinger, the linebacker, and Junkett, the running back. Mason Graham's played well. Harold Fannin Jr. A lot of young offensive weapons. But questionable for them is Mason Graham, Mike Hall, Joe Tyron, and George.
They got Jerome Baker, too. Don't forget that. He wants to make a special delivery.
Anything on the injury report for the Browns? The Dolphins are healthy. I guess Njoku, talk about him, Jason. I know he's the replacement for Njoku. Him being out, you're worried about a little bit.
The funny thing is with Fanning, it's not like he's even the backup to Njoku technically, because Fanning leads the Browns in targets and receptions, and I'm not just and yards. I'm sorry, in targets and yards. He is and receptions. Look at that. Last year at Bowling Green, he led the nation, not just tight ends, the nation in receiving yards and receptions. I mean, this guy is a bona fide beast. He kind of reminds me from what he does on the field. Oronde Gadsden II, wide receiver wrapped in a tight end label. And look what Gadsden did to us with 7 receptions last week. Fanning has had 2 games this season with 7 receptions. And the fact that Njoku is out, Dolphin fans, don't celebrate that a good tight end is out. It's going to elevate the snap count and the target for Fanning, who is a very, very good player and can line up really anywhere on the field. I'm just about to put out on Dolphins Wire my props article, and Harold Fanning Jr. is over under 4.5 receptions. Smiggity smash it, bettors. Like, we're talking 6 or 7 at least, and dump off passes. I mean, Dylan Gabriel threw 50 some odd times last week. 10 of them were targeted to Fanning in kind of little dinky dunks, and with the weather, he's going to be a safety valve. And
our missed tackles.
I was just going to say, and if you can't tackle a 6'4" slot tight end / receiver in Harold Fanning, he's going to be tiptoeing through that mud, pretty well. So I'm going touchdown, 6 catches, 88 plus yards for Fanning. This is not a celebration that Njoku is out. It's okay, he's out, great, but Fanning's gonna be put to work. That's for sure.
Shout out to Finn, Sammy. Good morning, and Lee. It's a significant other, the better half. Of
Did you guys hear that the Brown Stadium, the new one's going to have a dome? How crappy is that?
Why would they? That's like us not having the heat advantage. That's crazy.
That's so.
If you're the Browns, you want that lake effect. So I went to the draft in 2021. I went into that stadium. It's right on one of the Great Lakes, and it's like in the elements. That's their home field advantage, man. So I don't know why they would take it away.
You know what I was just thinking? It came to my head, Jason. We got to do Curtis. We got to go to a draft together and do a live, 3-day event, man. Let's plan that one of these years, God willing. That'd be fun. Sammy,
one of these drafts, we're gonna have 15.
I had a chance, dude. I had a chance to go to Ricky draft because it was in New York, Ricky Williams, and I got so sick, man. I was like fighting to go. I just couldn't make it though. It sucked so bad. I almost went, dude. That's the one that got away.
Yeah. Was that Edgerrin James went right in front of him, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, all right. So that's the injury report. Let's get into a little bit of the game. Sammy says count him in. Let's do it. Let's play that. Shout out to Lee. Good morning. She's saying morning, guys.
Oh, one more thing about the Fanning thing before I forget. The Dolphins just happen to be the 3rd worst in the league against tight ends in reception yards. So just something to put a feather in.
He was speaking of draft, he was an excellent receiving, maybe the best receiving tight end in college football, but he didn't test well. People were worried about his size, but when it comes to pass catching, man, no doubt about Fanning.
73% catch percentage so far this year.
Yeah.
Solid.
Excellent. All right. Game plan here. We'll start with you, Curtis. Offensively, for the Miami Dolphins. I always like to start off. What are we looking at? What are we dealing with? We got a heavy man team. Browns are man, cover 1. Interesting if they change that. What we said, teams usually change that when it comes to the Dolphins? I'm not sure if they will. They might adjust it depending on the weather. But they're one of the top man teams in football. This is they're stingy against the run. The Browns defense is number 1 3.1 yards per attempt. Number 3 in rushing yards per game, just under 80 yards. So I have some theories how we can counter that. But the biggest thing, and I mentioned this to you, Jason, on the we had Chris McNeil on. By the way, great guy from Big Cleveland sports show over there. They are yards per game. They give up their third best. They only give up 262, but their points per game, they give up 21. They're 21st, and they got 24.3. So if you look, it doesn't add up. Then you just go down the list. They give up in the red zone to their opponents, score 80% of the time touchdown. That's a matchup I do like for the Dolphins. Dolphins are actually 3rd in the league in that. They convert on 75%. It's actually where they're good at. So to me, the hidden yards, tilt in the field, penalties, all this stuff, they're stingy between the 20s. But once you get there, you can score on these guys. And the weather thing, where I said, man, this is going to be effective, because the one thing I think Jason and Curtis Cleveland struggles against is speed and motion stuff. Their secondary is not the greatest. But again, if there's 40-mile-an-hour winds, both these quarterbacks will have the arm to do it. And of course, the battle is going to be that four. They don't blitz a lot, but they still get pressure. The opposite of us, that 4-man front. What are you looking like offensively for the Dolphins here? What would your game plan be, Curtis? To start with you.
Oh, me?
Yeah. Curtis, yes.
Look. Sorry, I got a little internet thing over here. Look, the wind, you're getting 20-something mile an hour wind and between 15 and 17 with rain. And so trying to run those outside zones, it's very difficult because the cutback is going to be so hard. You're going to have to choppy step your way out, which is going to slow your roll to get to the edge. And then it's going to force you to really, really taper down to cut back. And that's where our strength is. We're going to have to run inside, but we're going to be way overmatched. I mean, Jonah's Strange. They're going to be, ice skates.
Jonah's best game last game. I know the bar's low, but best game. I thought. Bar's low. Yeah. Bar's low.
So anyway.
Like getting a 67 on a test and saying you passed.
Yeah,
Just throwing it out there. There's improvement.
Yeah, no, look, it's not that even when we made fun of Eichenberg, there were plays out. It's the consistency. Yeah. Offensive lineman needs a 98% consistency to be considered good. And so I don't know. Well, hopefully,
I actually thought Butch Berry explained it pretty well.
What do you say? I don't listen to these guys. They lie so much and say so much BS. I just can't take it.
Just if on film, if there's 32 good plays out of the 53, then the next week there's 37. Then you get into 43. Is he using his inside hand more often? Just these little. If you're seeing the progression, that's a positive sign. But you'd have to go back and listen to it. I just thought it made sense. I don't remember verbatim what he said, but I thought.
He's right. But again, like what?
Relative, Curtis is breaking up. Tom Garfinkel's got you over there again. Yeah.
Sorry about it. Main thing for me is like, well, you see even people do film studies. What's the matchups? So maybe this week he had an easier matchup. What were the calls around? Was the defense attacking him? There's a lot of you can't extrapolate much over a course of a game or two. It's got to be over a longer haul. That's where, look, if he does well this week, there's a bunch of guys here that are really good, and then that would be a data point. But we heard in Barry we trust and all this other stuff, and I don't believe anything that these guys say. So this would be a real data point. I agree with what he says, but you can't. Well, he did better this week. This was his best game. Well, he didn't. He had one guy he was going against, Brown. How many times did he face Brown? What did he do against Brown? So this week he's going to have a definite. Yeah. It's going to be totally. So anyway, I don't get too much into it. But
your previous point, before we got
if you go look at our philosophy in the last two drives against the Chargers, you're going to need small ball play, diversity of attack, interior, exterior. You're going to have to be patient. You're going to have to trust this defense to play something, and you should because they got a rookie quarterback. But the weather, a lot of these options, it's going to make everybody chop it up if it's muddy out, and then it takes away your speed, and that's our primary advantage. And then it's going to get phone booth time, which is not our advantage. And you got a defense, which you're going to show video later. It doesn't look like they're serious. I mean, mentally serious, commitment serious. So, yeah. So, it's McDaniel's going to have to ride the train by getting TOP, running that football, not making mistakes, having elongated drives, and keeping intestinal fortitude and keeping the offense at least moving down the field. 3 and outs, turnovers, one dimensionality is going to screw you against that front. So it's going to have to look like those last 2 drives, and those last 2 drives will work very well with what we're seeing this week. Unfortunately, that D front is going to be, and if they come out and play man, then they're really stupid. They're doing what the Jets did. They've got to come out, especially with the
they're a heavy man team. They're top of the league.
Yes.
Number 1.
So there's a lot of interest here. I think there's a lot of football value to study.
Yes. Even for 2 1-5 teams, this is interesting.
Really. Yes.
So people are watching this now saying, "Oh, Browns." It's interesting because one does one thing well, one does the other. What gives? The weather? Clearly, I think you said it best. We're going to get to you, Jason. The Dolphins' advantage is their speed and weapon against that Cleveland defense. They struggle with that. They struggle with motion. They struggle with speed. You're eliminating that. And when we get to the defensive game plan, what Cleveland actually does a mistake. Cleveland, we'll talk about it, actually passes the ball way too much. It's going to force them to do what we're not good at. So this weather thing is really hitting against us. So hopefully it's not as bad. Well, like somebody said in the chat, like Tony said, an L is a W, depending on how you look at it. But I'm a Dolphin fan. We're Dolphin fans. When we do this, we do it objectively, and and it's hard for us to root against the team. We cover the team. We want them to win. We do our matchups objectively. But Jason, your offensive game plan here, the weather effect, and kind of what you see going on with the Dolphins offense versus this very good front of Cleveland.
This is a tough one. I mean, this is a tough one because you would like a strong-armed quarterback to be able to zip a ball through wind and elements, and unfortunately, Tua is not necessarily that. And you also would love – well, correct. And this is the first lefty matchup of quarterbacks since 2006, Michael Vick versus Chris Sims, and ironically, the Dolphins will have another one, God willing, against Michael Penix for the Falcons next week. But the Gabriel Tua Tagovailoa matchup isn't exactly, Ali Frazier. So you really want an inside running presence. To Curtis's point, the outside zone running might be difficult in the elements. So what do? Hey, Ollie Gordon, he averages 2.5 carries a game. Give him some. Give him some. He's had 2 games where he's had over 5 carries out of the 6. And this is a game where you should utilize him. Yes, I know you're running into the teeth and the strength of their defense, but you can maybe, if there's a threat to that, a bad team like the Browns could overcompensate for that, which could open up a nice and easy crossing route for a Waddle, a Waller. You know what I mean? Put Achane on the field as a receiver with Gordon in the backfield. I've said this so many times, and it's only really come to fruition twice. One of those games against the Jets, they happen to have won with Gordon getting work, So that would be nice to see him get a little bit more work inside those tackles. But offensively, with the weather, this could be a very ugly and sloppy game. And another guy that you really want to be in there and targeted often is Darren Waller. You know what I mean? He is a present target for some of the game, and then it's like he's forgotten about. It's like
almost like we want to lose.
I don't know,
it, Curtis.
But I think Waller and Gordon could be very big factors in this game. I mean, Waddle could be taken out from the deep ball with the wind, and you said earlier, he's always nicked. This is a dangerous game with potential field conditions for a guy like a Waddle too. So it would be interesting to see how often he's targeted. it would be really, really nice to get 25 carries collectively from Dolphins running backs. And you know what would be even nicer? Activate a third running back. The Dolphins have not done that. I mean, look, say what you want.
Right? Anybody seen apparently Jalen Wright's been the scout team player of the week. When I read that, I almost lost my mind.
Exactly. But the fact of the matter is you have a lot of these teams who are at least dressing a trio of running backs to have a bona fide backfield. The Dolphins have Achane as their backfield, essentially. And a game like this, it's old school football in Cleveland, Ohio, with rain and wind. You need two elements to succeed, a defense and a rushing attack. And unfortunately, that's exactly what the Browns have. So offensively, play to the opponent, run the ball, and pray to God your defense could show up, because Quinshon Judkins, his over-under of rushing yards is 91.5. That is high.
He's physical.
That is a high mark. Yeah. So Vegas is expecting him for 100 yards.
Yeah, we'll get to the defense here next. But I want to say this. I want to get your guys' thoughts. I would use their aggressiveness, regardless of the wind and the rain, screen game, draw game with Achane, get him in space, quick stuff. Use that because you know they're coming. That 4-man, they don't blitz a lot, guys. They're coming, and they might even turn on the blitz with the weather. I'd use a lot of that. I'd use a lot of the screen game, the draw game. Try it, because instead of trying to be stubborn and running in the teeth, of that middle of that defense. What do you guys think of that, Curtis? Would you like some of the draw stuff, some screen stuff to Achane, get him in space, use that aggressiveness against Cleveland?
Look, we hear always diversity is your strength.
Yeah.
In most cases, that's not true. Most cases, the thing that an army can't withstand is an enemy within. You want unification. But when it comes to the NFL offense, diversity is king. If that defense is sitting there going, wow, these guys got a menu of 3 things, you're doomed, because a defense has to be playing defense, which means reacting. They can't be acting, and then offense reacting. So even if you run the football on the interior and you pick up a yard or 2, that adds to your attempts. It gives them something to think about. If you go back to those last 2 drives, they were attacking everywhere along the front. Yeah. You had an Ingle run, an Achane run, an Ollie run. You had some runs outside. You had a little jet sweep that really didn't go anywhere, but they were attacking everywhere. You've got to do that, especially, look, anybody who's ever been a running back, ever at any level, when you get that mess, the running back can't cut, but those offensive linemen, defensive linemen, they're slipping and sliding too. And if you run it hard in the interior, there's a pop. Sometimes it pops your way. And if you run the ball enough, unless you're the Dolphins, I guess we're eating bag of black cats, you're going to get a pop where they clear open and then Moses parts the Red Sea. But you can't be doing it outside. The Bills tried it a couple of years ago. I forgot who it was. My lights went out. And they couldn't run outside because it was snowing. You've got to run it inside. You take.
Curtis, maybe Curtis.
Your shots, ABC diversity.
Yeah, you're back with us. You went out for a second. Yeah, I agree. I just think, Jason mentioned Gordon up the middle. This is a game where I could see Gordon with I want to see dirt on his pants, in his jersey, and his shoulder pads. He leans forward. This is a type of game for him, but I just think you can counter. I'm telling you, they struggle with speed and space, the Browns defense. That's their weakness. They're stingy versus the run, but you got to try it. You said it'll pop. Lean on them. Attempts mean more sometimes than the result. Achane's as talented as Achane is, he's not Barry Sanders, but you remember Barry. Barry would get -3, 71. You know what I mean? They stopped doing that. Like, they stopped giving him attempts and stuff. But let's not make any mistake about it, guys. And I have a chart for this. These 2 teams in perfect sunny 90-degree weather in Miami are not teams that threaten the ball downfield. Look at this chart. I saw this on somewhere. They're with them and the Bengals. Rushing plays plus 10 yards. These are big plays, most big plays through week 6. I know the graphics might be a little small. Rushing yards 10 plus. Dolphins 13 near the bottom. Browns 11. Receiving yards 20 plus. Dolphins 12. Browns 11. Big plays overall. 25 for the Dolphins, 22 for the Browns. Big plays per game is, I guess, 4.2, and the Browns at 3.7. So they're both near the bottom of the league. And you add the weather element. This thing's going to be an ugly game. I mean, offensively, I think for both sides. All right, let's move on to the defense. And shout out to the chats in here. Blackchain James, death taxes and Curtis's Wi-Fi. Yes. Yes, you are correct, Sammy. I wouldn't feel right if Curtis Wi-Fi wasn't going out. But don't worry, we fight through it. We're not like the Dolphins. We fight through the adversity. We're not mentally soft on the Fins faithful here. All right, defensively, fellas. Boy, this is you look at numbers wide, this Browns offense, if it's ever to get right game, with the weather included, obviously stopping the running game is going to be most important. But the Browns, last in the league, 13.7 points per game. Yards per game, 27, 281.5. Points per play, 0.201 32nd. Yards per play, 4.1 32nd. 31st. Third down conversion, 28th. Touchdowns a game, 31st. You get the point. This is a horrible offensive, at least statistically. And they don't, and we talk about weather. This is surprising, Jason. We talked about another show, and Curtis, they are number one in pass attempts per game. A lot of that was with Flacco, but I think Chris McNeil last game gave about 58 dropbacks. Now, I think the game plan, I think this is where actually Mike McDaniel made a lot of sense. He said, make Dylan Gabriel look like a rookie quarterback in his press conference. I couldn't agree more. I think it's all going to start with the run game here, stopping the Quinshon Judkins. If this game was played in Miami with normal weather, this team doesn't run the ball as much as they should, and now the weather might force them to. Before we get into the videos, what would be just your guys' general game plan here? Curtis, we'll start with you versus this horrific Dylan Gabriel-led offense. But by the way, they're the only team that has a worse pass blocking grade than us in the league. So we thank Cleveland for that. Curtis, your game plan here for the Dolphins defense.
Look, whatever the game plan is, it's got to be stopping a run. You're going to go over that video. If you see more of that stuff, forget about it. Forget about it.
Give me one, Jason. Give me a forget.
Forget about it.
Okay, so mine doesn't. Go ahead. Not as cool as, sorry, Jason. Not as cool as Curtis. Go ahead.
Look, you go back and you look at the film. There's poor play. There's guys not looking like they're serious about business decision. Running around. We're not tax stacking, shedding. And then just bad play all around. So if in this weather you don't stop the run, and I don't care about that. Look how bad the Chargers were, and we really struggled to get to them. Yeah, look, I think the Cleveland might be trying to get a top pick. They might be in tank mode. That might be a possibility. So then they might not call to win. They might say, "Hey, this is our top competitor for a top pick. We've got to lose here, guys." Yeah. So if the Browns were smart, they're running a lot of play action. They're keeping bodies inside. They're running the football interior. And if that's the case, then we're going to struggle to get to them. Or they can go true pass set. Let's let her rip, baby, because we trust our quarterback, which means we're trying to lose. And then I think they're going to be in trouble. So, but it all comes down to the run game. It might be almost impossible for them to lose this game because you can't make it too obvious if we play run stop like we have. Judkins, they've got a pretty darn good offensive line. Conklin looks like he's going to be in. They've got Benito. I can't remember our left guard's name. They got enough guys to move people. I mean, they're going to those offensive linemen are not. None of those players are out to lose. I don't care what they want for the draft pick. They got enough to really bang us around with Judkins. So if this team decides to play run stop, I'm a little concerned in the man because that rookie can move a little bit. He could buy some time. But there's no way that we should not be able to stop that. It's just going to be about the run game. That's all it's going to be about, because if they can run the football, keep us out there, the little heart this defense has left is going to get left on the field by the first quarter or second quarter, and then the floodgates will open, and that defense is going to play us well on offense. And so you don't want a team that's kind of fighting with each other and no heart to have a close game in that second half. So he's going to have to play some man. He'll have to play some zone, and they're going to stop the pass. It's just all about the run. And it's scary because you go look at some of that film you had. Even Brooks looks like he's making business decisions.
Should we show the film?
Yeah, show the film.
Let's show the film as we keep talking about the film. Let's get into it. Let's start. I want to bring up this one first. All right, this play here is, I believe. Look, first of all, one thing I noticed, how they set us up here. Draw a line. Who's watching this? Draw a line. Benino Jones straight up to KJ Britt to the safety. Look how many defenders on the left. Look how many. This is a great design but look how they have it set up. You can see where they're going, right? So as you can see this play here, as we hit
and
it,
they go in motion to tell you.
And they're gonna watch. Here's what we play. Watch, keep an eye on. I like to tell people, keep an eye on Zion Johnson pulling in the trap, and Trey Harris, the receiver, goes in motion as well. And keep your eye on Matthew Judon, because we talk about the defensive tackles. It's more than that. It's the players, it's the personnel, it's the run fits, it's the schemes, it's the edge defenders. Let's go ahead and roll it. So you see here, you got Harris in motion and Zion Johnson pulling. They got everything covered up. The key here is you see the bright orange arms is Matthew Judon on the edge. He cannot, under no circumstances, lose contain on the edge. And what happens? That's how you make a UPS running back look like a Pro Bowler.
But if you go back,
I'll go back. Look, and go ahead and come.
Look at, you have strong right. You get in motion, which means you're accentuating your right. But look at all the techniques of the defensive linemen. They go left to shield or left side run. Like,
it's
so
horrible.
What are you doing?
I don't know. But still, look at this. Look at it. I mean, if you do not, I mean, they got a helmet on a helmet. And, but the problem is the edge.
Look at Benito getting tossed.
Yeah.
Look at Chop. I don't know what he's doing. Why isn't he going down the line of scrimmage? Why is he engaging? He saw the handoff. He should just get around that guy. Look, what is he doing?
But great job. Look.
Oh, yeah.
This is why you're getting out coached.
That's a nice run, though.
Yeah, they see it. They bring in also Zion on the trap block, Zion Johnson, the guard, and they bring in Trey Harrison, big receiver, in motion, the block. And then your edge defenders, and this just happens on multiple. They do not contain the edge, and look what happens. Nice run, but you're Matthew Judon. You cannot let that happen. Jason, what do you see here?
I agree with Curtis. I mean, you can't let that happen. It's ridiculous to allow a guy like, a second, third string running back off the practice squad essentially to do that to you, and it's problematic all over the place.
Yeah. But look. If you have a strong side right, you don't know the motion's happening. You got a strong side right.
Yeah, you can't. That's true. That's a fair point.
So why is not your big guys rotating to the strong side and your linebackers rotating and focusing on the weak side? That's like saying, I'm going to take my big guys and put them to the weak side. I'm going to take my small guys and make them rotate to the strong side. And then it gets accentuated by the guy. You can't. Look, you don't know. You do not know.
You don't know that's going to happen, right?
But still, why are you rotating your D lineman away from the strong side?
That's what I'm saying. It's not only we're focused on Kenneth Grant, we're focused on Sealer, but it's everything. It's the run fits, the scheme, the coaching, everything. The technique, and the edge setting to me.
That's a beautiful run, guys. That's a beautiful run. That is vision and it was a nice little hold and release. That was a pro block right there.
He's got to make that play though. But this is part.
But if you notice, if you go back, you see, I don't really totally blame Judon because he goes into the hole, and Judon then starts to try to get to it. He goes. He watches.
There's nobody there though, and you're going to see. Look on the right. There's nobody there. There's no
and it fills, and then he's inside, and then
that got to make that play. Jason, break the tie here. Judon's got to make that play, correct?
Yeah. I mean, you got him. You wrap him up on the legs, and you got to twist and take him down.
Let's move on to the next one because it's just a bunch of the same. You said Are these guys making business decisions? All right. This one looks like this is a 3rd and 1. So obviously you can see they're looking for the push to us or QB sneak or something up the middle. You see they're kind of piled up in the middle here. I believe it was a third. This was a 3rd and run. Look how the Chargers seal the edge here. I'll let you take this. Curtis.
Look at all four. Look at all guys on the ground.
Stop. Look at that. They built a wall on the edge and the inside. Everybody's on the ground because why? To be fair, again, who's calling this play? This is a chess match. We're losing every time. This looked like we go back. They were.
Well, look at the run.
QB sneak, right? He's looking. They're assuming QB sneak on 3rd and 1 wherever. Would you guys both agree with that based on what you see set up here, Curtis?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they breach to the outside, but look at the edge defenders. Britt goes inside. There's just nobody there. All the defensive linemen are on the ground. They built a wall on the edge, and there's just nobody around them. I mean, this is
look at that hole over there. Look at that.
This is Kamani Vidal's longest run of his career, 38 yards. Again, you take no offense to Vidal, but
what is this third like a 3rd and 1?
3rd and 1. So they're clearly going for court. They clearly think Herbert's going to take it and go. Again, but should you be calling that fit there? You're going to give some up to the outside, especially on the edge defenders. But look at this. I mean, they seal a wall. Well,
look at Ashton Davis. He takes his step up.
Let me go back.
He just needs to drive that back and watch. Go back to the beginning. So watch 21. Instead of getting out, he stepped up inside. Now he hits the wall. Instead of reading and then extending and then getting it back inside to drive it back to Britt and Judon. So once he does that, he's walled.
And once Britt gets caught up in the traffic, it's game over.
Yeah. Because if he gets on the outside, on the right side, if he doesn't take that step up, then all of a sudden he's got to force a cutback.
There's not a running back in the league that couldn't make a 30-yard run. But not a running back on a practice squad. These are the problems. It's not just.
You can park a yacht in between those guys.
It's not. The point of showing this is, and I hope you guys like the film stuff we do on here. This is the show we do it on, because Curtis is the man on that.
I try
sometimes. It's the edge rushers, it's the coordinator, Anthony Weaver, it's the technique and coaching during the week, it's the run fits, it's everything.
Everything. Sorry, I had to do that. Just focus on that.
All right, you want to go to the last one we have?
Why not? I already feel sick to my stomach. I might as well make the vomit happen.
All right. This run fit's really bad on this one. This is, I believe, out of 22 personnel. They got the fullback, the extra tight end, they're in 22 personnel. Watch Jordan Brooks on here display.
Gotta make a business decision.
Jordan Brooks on display. They're running 22 personnel. He takes the inside leverage here. Nobody around. This run fit, Curtis, did I pick out good? I picked out some good 3 plays this week.
You did excellent. Yeah, you did great.
Look at game over. Now it's all around, man. Sorry.
There was about 17 things he could have done right, and there was one he could do wrong. And he said, "You know what? I'm taking the wrong one."
Yeah. And then this goes for.
Go back to the beginning though. If it's the same play, remember there was some other fun stuff in here.
Go ahead. I'll run it. You let me know when you want to start.
Look at Grant and Phillips. I didn't understand this.
Grant is in the. He's lined up.
Yeah.
The shade.
Yeah. I don't know why he's at 1.
Yeah.
I don't know why he's at 1.
Great point.
Why is he at 1?
And people who watch this don't understand. 0 would be your straight head-to-head over the center. 1, you're shaded on the shoulder there. That's another show. We'll get into that. But yeah, he's shaded at the 1. Okay, go ahead, Grant.
So look at him. Look at him. Phillips takes a step inside. He gets penetration, but then he totally compromises the right side. And look how close. You don't want your players that close. He gets the penetration, but if that was the case, then there should have been some. Look at that. And then look at Chop. He's totally saying he's like, whoa.
He's like, Chop saying he's giving it away. Take me inside. Take me to the first row of the sideline here. I'm giving you this.
Nothing.
Edge rushers, again, it's not only – but this is a great point, actually. I didn't spot this. When we talked about Sealer, let's say Phillips is Sealer in this role. Grant doesn't do a good job of figuring out what the other guy's doing and what he's supposed to do. This is a classic example of what we're talking about here. And you roll it, and then here's Brooks. Once Brooks takes that inside, and just the amount of nobody around in this game, it's just you could try to be scientific and say a lot of things, but there's just nobody around. You know what I mean? And then and
there's no willing to sacrifice. There's very little willing to sacrifice. What Chop did right there was basically screw it, dude. Screw it. Screw this.
Look what Chop did.
I ain't messing with that.
Look what Chop does. Chop basically says, drive me to the sideline. Here it is. I gave myself tips. He just rides
and he's right next to Phillips.
Crazy. No technique, no base, no left, nothing. It's more. It's more. This is why we talk about Anthony Weaver. It's more, than as I lose Curtis there.
I got booted.
He got booted. It's more than the defensive attack. It's everything. These guys either they don't get along. They don't have chemistry. They don't know what they're doing. They're not being coached right. It's just not. You see it on the field, and I picked these 3 plays out because I wanted to show you the edge rushers don't contain. Linebackers don't fill the right gaps. If they do, the other guy doesn't. Chop Robinson, this is why he doesn't get as many snaps, is because he's a liability in the running game. I didn't think it would decrease this year. He kind of was gotten better in the second half last year, was getting pressure on the quarterback. Jason, after you see all this stuff, and Sammy says you love
my internet.
You're good.
Thing.
Sarni, walk me off the ledge here.
I can't.
Is this fixable at all?
I mean, no, I don't think so. I mean, look at the running backs that they're going to be facing in the next few weeks as well. I mean, come on. Bijan Robinson is going to probably go for 1,475 yards. I mean, this is ridiculous. Judkins is going to feast. I don't think this is a fixable scenario.
Yeah. Guess what? Until they fix the running game and run the ball with more attempts, I don't care how Tua plays. I don't care how, and I said this, bad teams lose multiple ways, right? We've lost when we've ran the ball. We've lost when we won the turnover battle. We lost when Tua played decent. That's how bad teams, they lose games. I told you, I've been told privately this team doesn't like each other, and you're seeing it now. And now it's starting to, you clearly see it. The energy on the sidelines, I was listening to, I believe Joe Rose was talking with Bo Camper, 2 guys I respect. The energy on the sidelines coming out of the tunnel, guys they're not there. It's just not, there's something going on. And for some damn reason, Mike McDaniel is nowhere close to being fired, according to reports. So I that's another podcast, another show. I'm sure we'll have many more of these shows on all this. But man, is this fixable, Curtis, or is it because it's more than personnel? It's personnel and it's coaching, right?
All right, my internet's working here. I gotta say,
you're good. You're good.
I look like a caveman. I sound like a caveman. Part I am, but I love literature, and one of my favorites is Shakespeare, although it could probably be a guys, and Hamlet because there's an antic disposition. It's a tragic story. But anyway, so there's this part. Talks to his mother and he thinks she's involved in the murder of his father, and so she's trying to figure out what's going on with him, and he thinks that she's involved. And so it goes like this. Gertrude, the mother, says, "Why seems it so with thee?" Hamlet says, "Seems, madam? Nay, it is. I know not seems. 'Tis alone my inky cloak, good mother, nor customary suits of solemn black, nor windy subspation of forced breath, nor the fruitful river in the eye, nor the dejected havior of the visage, together with all forms, moods, shapes of grief that can denote me truly. These indeed seem, for they are the actions that a man might play, but I have that within me which patheth show. These but are the trappings and the suits of woe." And so he's saying to her, you're talking to me about seams, but there is. And the lies and the illusions and the BS from this team at every step is disgusting. And I said, I got a great quote. I don't really say that often about myself. In 2021, I said, this team will go nowhere. They don't have honor. They don't have character. They're show no go. It's going to rinse and repeat. They're going to do something big to make people go, yay. But ultimately, it's going to suck in on itself like a black hole. They lie to you. They lie to us. They lie to each other. They are liars. We were told this is the greatest chemistry since chemistry was ever invented in the game of football, and it was such a heap of crap. And that's what we are. We're fake. We're frauds. We're plastic. We're simulacron. We are destined to crumble because we have no character. Football is about character. It's about honor. It's about brutality. It's about sacrifice. And you're hollow men, as someone once said. Hollow men. That's the problem. And so, even though we have talent, sorry. Never mind.
Finish strong.
At
Round of applause.
At the very core of us is an inherent weakness. That's the anathema to football, and that's why we always suck. We rinse and repeat. We lie to everybody with hopium, set them up to believe in a false narrative. As Jimi Hendrix once said, castles on sand, I can't think of it right now, swept into the sea, and so we will rinse and repeat, because we don't have the character and the nature of success in football. And that is honor, sacrifice, violence, dignity, and self-respect and genuineness. And we don't have that.
Yeah.
Where else are you getting film breakdown followed by Shakespeare passage? We are
nowhere else. If you're not watching this show,
sorry,
sprinkled in with a Jimi Hendrix reference. Come on, where else, man?
If you're not watching, if you're watching any of the Dolphins, I love all these Dolphins. If you're watching any of them today, you're crazy. You better be on YouTube watching. Curtis, I got to turn that into a YouTube short. The literature portion of this program brought to you by. We got to find a sponsor for that. We go from we're like it's like what they used to say about Walmart. You can buy grocery and socks. You can get literature and film study here. All open doors here. Bravo! Round of applause for Curtis on that. Round of applause.
We'll do right, Julius Curtis. Caesar next week.
Every week you have to have one.
And Greer.
That's fine. I went to college for this stuff. I got to use it for something.
That's My dad was an English teacher, and I went away from this stuff, so I got to clip this and send this to him. He'll be thrilled.
Yeah. Yeah. You know what's funny? It's hard to go after that because you're right. But I said this, and I tweeted out maybe in 2019. I said, yeah, the plan sounds good, but we're going to look back in 5-6 years from now, and the guy who bought the groceries for this whole thing, what's the problem? It's too late. The plan was right. You want to build and tear down. Actually, tearing down for draft picks is the lazy way of covering for your mistakes. It's the easy way out, right? Anybody can trade players for draft picks and pile up draft. That's the easy way. It's the way you do it when you did something wrong, but you let this guy who did something wrong and got us to that point to do it again. And that's why fans are up in arms, because if you're at this point again, after the rebuild didn't work, we're going to let it happen again. And we talk about the merry-go-round of mediocrity. You said it best, Curtis. This is what's happening again.
And again.
Those push him to another position in the front office, and they'll make a new name for it, and they'll hire one of these guys internally, but the same operation, the same stench of the building, the paint smell, the guys in the scouting room doing the same shit for 20 years that hasn't worked. They got to find a different way of doing things. Mr. Ross is an unbelievable businessman. He's done it with the Dolphins. Just can't seem to figure it out on the football side. And that's the problem. But again, you said it. We're going to look back and it's too late. And we're looking back now. And Jason, we're staring dead at another cycle of 3 or 4 years. And I don't blame any fans who get frustrated, who put banners over the stadium, fire McDaniel, fire Greer, get rid of whatever, because we'll know pretty quick. I think you guys both will agree with this. We'll know pretty quick in this rebuild, depending how they do it, if we're going to be sitting here having this conversation again in 4 years, right?
Oh, yeah.
We'll know pretty quick, depending how they operate. If they clean house, if Stephen Ross wakes up and finally gets it and says, I like Greer. He's a nice guy. He might know where, I buried this body, but so what? I like McDaniel. He's a nice guy. I like his wife, his kids. I like what he's about. He's a nerdy guy. He's different. I like all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is production-based business. It's real estate business and every business. Where you work, where I work, everything is production-based. Not if you like me, right? That only helps so far. And I just can't.
So this is a what have you done for me lately business. And what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
Nothing.
All right, so keys to the game, guys.
We kind of, I went over it. I got my keys out.
Yeah,
it's so key.
Protect. I'll run through them. Protect Tua versus the 4-man rush. I think key. Take opportunities if you can with the man coverage. You said it, Curtis. Win the field position battle. They're stingy on yards, but if you get in the red zone, they give touchdowns 80% of the time. Make Gabriel look like a rookie. I want them to. If we need to start off fast for them to man the running game, and unfortunately, I don't think that'd be hard to do with the weather. They get Gabriel on 3rd and long. He's a turnover machine. He's a rookie. Let's get that happen. One thing I do like the individual matchups. It all starts with Patrick Paul, Myles Garrett, right? Garrett got the best of them as a young player. How do you see that? Do you think any matchups you guys particularly like, especially that one? Do you think Paul has a chance here to kind of at least hold Garrett down to be Garrett got down to sack in about 3 weeks, by the way. But your thoughts on some key individual matchups? Paul Garrett is the highlight. It won't start with you, Jason.
No, I mean, this is 106 sacks on Garrett's career resume, and he's going up against a second-year tackle who has looked great. So this is a phenomenal litmus test for Paul. I ultimately do think that Garrett will get to Tua in this game. It's just a matter of, look, if he can limit it to 1 sack or a half a sack, I think that could be a win for Paul. So, this is a fun matchup to watch. The Browns have a lot of rookies who I think are going to do very well in this game. And when I say a lot of rookies, that's over 2. And I'm not even talking about Gabriel. I'm talking about Judkins. I'm sorry, your boy, Carson Schwarzenegger.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
God,
I'm sorry. This is a linebacker who we're going to be probably seeing over the field.
One positive. Check our draft coverage this upcoming season.
Yeah, we're going to be starting pre-Halloween, folks. But and again, Harold Fanning Jr. is going to eat. So, keys to the game, to get back to the original question: tackle. Fanning gets a 5-yard pass, tackle him. Don't make it a 17-yard gain. Judkins averages 4.6 yards per carry. Don't let him average 9.2 yards per carry. Look at what these running backs, Rico Dowell, Kamani Vidal, they've collectively in the last 2 weeks averaged, I think, 7.5 yards per carry. What are we doing here? Tackle, please tackle. And ready for this? This is my number 1 key to the game. In the elements, in the state where essentially football is king, keep it simple, stupid. Run the ball, play defense. I don't care if it's 9-6. That's how I think the Dolphins could win this game, let alone field goals could be difficult in the win. But run the ball, control the clock. And I don't think if Tua has to throw 30-plus times, no bueno.
Yeah, we'll get into the over-under of that. What's the over-under? I forgot to check the over-under of the total.
Oh, the total, it went down 2 points in the last 24 hours. It's 35.5.
I like the under a lot.
I love the under.
I love the under. Curtis, you love the under?
Sure, why not? Why not?
Any other matchups you guys like individually?
Thing is, though, if you watch them play against Minnesota, they did pretty good, man. So maybe they could put because the Minnesota brought a lot of blitzes, and so do we. And so they kind of took advantage of that at times. And this weather could open. I don't know. Sure. I saw
a big matchup.
Under. You wise guys are saying under, so I'm going under.
Yeah, well, the funny thing is, the under, I said it was under 37.5, and now it's 35.5. So I'm literally right there when we get to the score prediction. But the Browns have yet to score 18-plus points yet this season.
They average.
Let's wait.
Hold on. They're last in the league. 13.7 points per game, but we give up 29 points a game. So if this defense, I'm telling you, this game right here, we said rock bottom. That Chargers game is nothing compared to if they start 1-6 and they lose to the Browns in this offense, they make Dylan Gabriel, I said, look like a young Russell Wilson or young. I mean, we got two left-handed, under 6 foot Hawaiian quarterbacks who don't have big arms. How many times is that going to happen? Look for it. Shout out to Finstock Sports Network. What's up, fellas? All right. Basically, the key matchup individually is going to be this Dolphins offensive line all across the board versus their front four. And man, sweatshirt's good. All right, let's play the fun over-under game. Curtis's favorite segment of the show. All right.
100%.
Let's start with Tua Tagovailoa. Passing yard, Jason Sarney, 190.5. You said the over 3 out of the 6 on that line. Are you going over or under, Mr. Jason Sarney?
I'm going to go under because I'll give you a couple of reasons. If the Dolphins have success in this game, it should come via the run. So if they are in a situation with a second half lead, don't deviate from it. I mean, don't. So I would love for Tua. This is the type of game, 17 out of 22, 165 yards, a touchdown, and a W. That's all I care about.
No turnovers. They struggle, dude. Hitting yards.
Another thing.
Special teams, guys.
Sorry to give a little
piece, Jason. Hitting yards and special teams.
Sorry to give a little bonus on the over/under here, but like I said, I'm working on my prep article.
Yeah.
Tua's over/under for interceptions is 0.5, which is, I mean,
I'd go over on that.
I would go over on that, but the fact is, limit that by throwing less. Ollie Gordon, at least 8 carries. Achane, keep him in that 14, 15 carry realm. And please, for the love of God, activate a third running back. I mean, get him 3 or 4 carries.
So to be clear, you're going over.
I'm going under on 190 yards.
Curtis, you on 190.5 yards passing. Over.
I was smoking too much peyote last week and I said the over, so I'm going to get off the drugs and go under.
All right, I'll go like he goes 5 yards over. Not much. Passing touchdowns 1.5. I have 1.5 here on passing touchdowns. You had 0.5. You had 0.5
on interceptions.
Oh, interceptions. Yeah, sorry.
In this kind of game with the elements,
1.5 touchdowns. Jason, over under.
I just rattled off a line that I would be happy with. I mean, look, if they score 2 touchdowns, one of them should be via rushing. Another one could be to Achane again via the pass. He can get 2, but 1 run, 1 pass. I don't see 20 points from really either team here. The elements will factor that in. So to me, it's safe to go under and expect a sole touchdown. But look, 17 points, 19 points might win this game.
Yeah, shout out to the chat. Jorge, how you doing? Welcome. Guys, make sure you hit that like, subscribe button. We're breaking it down. Our favorite part, Curtis, is if you missed watch the replay, Curtis had a great rant in literature. We just broke down all 22 of them.
Shakespeare Saturday.
Yeah. Yes. They're going to try to stop Achane. Even Paul's been good in the past. He's not great in the run. Yeah, very good. Paul's been much better in the pass pro than he has in the run blocking. All right. So Curtis, 1.5 touchdowns for Tua, over under.
Under.
Ooh. You have more conviction, Curtis, this week in the over-under game.
This weather is going to be a killer. And that front, oh, come on.
Yeah.
He'll be lucky to get 1.
I think he gets 2. I go over. He's hit the over. I know the conditions are different, but I always like to read you the line. That line, he's hit the over 4 to 6 this season. But the weather, again, is going to complicate a variable that's going to change things. But I'll go he gets 2. 30.5 pass attempts, Jason Sarney. Over, under. Better be under.
It's it's under. You're I mean, with the wind, with the rain, less is more
under,
here.
Right?
Less is more here. Less is more. Go with the under.
Under, Curtis.
Well, if you're counting in screens and stuff, I think over.
Ooh, okay. So Curtis.
McDaniel's either McDaniel's going to be McDaniel, or McDaniel's told the tank.
Yeah.
The logic with Dick.
All right. Waddle, 56.5 yards. Over his hit 3 out of the 6, but he's trending up with the injury to Tyreek Hill. 56.5. You would say with the win. I think he can get 6. I like him against this man coverage. If the win, like I think he gets about. It's a tough number. I think he gets about 60 yards. I'm not confident about him. I'm gonna go slightly over, Jason.
I mean, he's averaging 65 a season. He is the number one target. You know, he should hover around that 60 range. I'm going to go
tough
over.
One, right?
It's a tough one just because the overall element. I mean, if this game is in
Miami,
Miami,
I'm going over all day.
Of course. I mean, look, you could have one play where it's a nice little short pass that he can make a guy miss. Because remember, defense is hard to get some traction on a wet field too. So I'll go over, but I'm not expecting a 100-yard game from Waddle. So call it in that 60 to 70 range. Safe.
Curtis.
I forgot. I think I went under last week. I'm not sure if I was right.
I'm gonna go back in the shows. I'm gonna keep track of it. I promise. I have to do that. I know I keep. That's why I need Jason.
So I'm kind of like Costanza from that Friend TV show. I only know one whole joke. You know, you just whatever you think. I'll choose you. So I'll say over. Why not? My initial reaction is
we all said over on this one. But over it. But it's just by a hair. Like I don't expect a 90-yard performance or 100-yard performance. Okay, receptions 4.5. The over, I said 4 to the 6 on that line. Does he get 5 for 60? I'm gonna go again with the. It's like I think he can get 5 catches. It's close. Jason, I'll go over.
This is another right there. You know,
right
5
there.
or 6 catches. You know, I mean, again, in a normal game against the Browns, no weather, you could be looking at 7 for 90 and a touchdown. But I would limit that. But I would. Look, you got to get him active, and I would think 5 or 6 catches is very viable. Slightly over.
Curtis, 4.5 receptions, over under.
Well, look, if they play zone, I think over. But if they're going to have Ward get up close, play man, you're going to have the pressure and the wind, I say under. So I don't know what they're going to do, whether the insanity is to play man or they're going to try to mix up, add more zone. I'll say under.
Okay. All right. The A-chain rushing yards 70.5. The under is hit 4 to 6 times in this line of 70.5. It needs to be over. 70.5 is a high number for me for A-chain. I'm gonna go. Screw it. I'm going over because I have a bold prediction about this game with A-chain. Over. Jason.
It's hard to go under with a player like him, but what I would say is I'm going to kind of deviate from your game, and I'm going to say combine his rushing and receiving prop play, which is around 90. Actually, it's probably around 100 at this point.
I like it. I like that way over, by the way, because I'm going to get into my bold predictions on that.
HN is 101.5 on his rushing and receiving yards. I'd hit the over on that because you want to factor in potentially 35, 45 receiving yards in this game. Wow, Hard Rock has him 7.5. I would go over 70 rushing yards, 35 reception yards, a little bit over 100 total. Curtis, where do you go?
Lost Curtis. We'll just move. We'll move along until Curtis gets back. I'll go over 16.5 rush attempts for A-chain. That's a lot, man. He had 16 last. I would hope they would do it. Again, we got to take the win. The wind should take the ball out of Tua's hands a little bit here and more in the running back's hands. I'm going to go. He had 16 last week. I like what we saw. This is a much better run defense. They're playing tops in the league. Because I see him like around 16, right? This is a good number. I'll go. So is he going to get 17? I'll go over slightly. Jason?
I'm going to hope for the under, but it's at like 15 or 16 just to get that half a point under because, I mean, only like, 20% of his career games he's gone over that mark. And I think, again, you need to get a little bit of differentiation for a power presence of a running attack here. And I'm not saying A-Chain can't do well in between the tackles, but this could be a very sloppy field. 14 to 16 carries, 20 touches for A-Chain is the bread and butter. And you got to get Gordon 7 to 10 carries, which would get us to around the 20-plus rushing attempts from the backfield. So I would hope it's the under for preservation and prosperity of the team. But if there is a game where he hits 18, 19 again, this is something that could set up.
I like
playing the probabilities, I'd go under.
It doesn't make sense because it looks like the win. It's going to be a physical game. I just think in space, I could see HA making some plays here. And I like his total. And I hope you got a bold prediction ready. Start thinking of that, Jason, as we 4.5 receptions. The over. I said 3 out of 6 on that line this season. I'm going over. I think a lot of screens, a lot of short passing game to him to offset the 4-man rush. And especially, they're not going to challenge the ball downfield in this weather. What do you like there on over-under on the 4.5 receptions for the Vikings?
I like 5 or 6 receptions, especially in the elements. You got to check down to him. You got to get him into the screen games, work him in as a receiver. 5 catches should be a bare minimum. Bare minimum.
All right, the next and 30.5 receiving. You've kind of I do it individually. You kind of combined it, but we'll go the 30.5 yards receiving. He's hit the under, surprisingly, 5 out of the 6 at that line this season. Again, I like him in space. I like yards here for him. I'm going over. One of my favorite plays.
Oh, God, yeah. Got to go over there.
Yeah. All right, Waller, 32.5 yards. The unders hit 2 out of 3 at that line. Waller's a tough one because he'll score a couple of touchdowns, but he's like 27 yards. Waller, I'll go slightly over on the 32.5.
I would rather hope for 4 receptions, all being short passes, maybe one of them in the red zone, because the over-under, I believe, is set at 3.5 for receptions. I'm not saying that's a lot of yards for him to get, but in this particular game, I worry about the elements. So I would go under on the yardage and hope that he gets 4 catches, 25 yards, and a touchdown. That would be a good game.
Yeah. So you would say you're leading to my next one. The 3.5 receptions. The unders hit 2 to 3 of that line.
Yeah.
Over, right? It's good. The numbers are good. It's a tough week because of the variable of in chat. Please, I like in the chat. Blockchain says over on the Waddle. Like, give your opinion. We love that. This is a lot of tough numbers. This game. How do you go there on the Waddle? On the Waller reception total?
For Waller, for Darren Waller.
Waller, excuse me.
Yeah, like I said, 4. It should be 4.
Yeah, I'm aware with you. It's again, I don't feel confident in a lot of these numbers. It's like right where I had him, man. I guess that's a good. Curtis was with us. I don't know if Curtis will join us before we wrap this up. But all right, so those are the any other you're working on prop lines for Dolphins Wire. Any other one you like? Kind of you like that stands out to you?
Well, we pretty much touched on them all. I'm going to set myself up to be hurt again, and I'm going to take Ollie Gordon over 4.5 rushing attempts. Give the man 5, 6, 7 carries. I mean, even
what's the line, Curtis?
4.5.
Yeah,
4.5 attempts.
I stopped doing it every week. I'm like, I love this number. It's like 3.5 rushing yards, 18.5. I'm like, I love this number. I'm predicting my bold prediction for Ollie Gordon. He has 70. It's not happening. I don't know if he doesn't know the playbook or he's decent in pass pro. It's a mystery to me as we bring back Curtis. You're just in time. You're just in time before we. How was your conversation with Garfinkel? Was it okay backstage?
Yeah. He said you gotta tone it down, buddy. You gotta tone it down.
Mr. Finn Sammy. Oh, Sammy, you ready to go in, huh? Sammy, you got to make an appearance on the Saturday Sideline Show with us all one day. All right, so the Waller numbers real quick, Curtis. 32.5 over under on yards and 3.5 receptions.
Under.
Both. On both?
Yeah.
Okay.
Green wants to rest. I mean, McDaniel wants to rest him for now.
Okay. Is that where you were when you were gone there? McDaniel, you had a nice conversation with Mike. What did he tell you? What's up, Adrian? Shout out to Adrian, Rainy Day Pod. My man, great. I met Adrian at the Adrian's great. He's wow. I love him. Guy. He's the life of the party. Adrian. Shout out to Adrian. We gotta get you on too, Adrian. All right. All right, fellas. Bold predictions for the game. Should I go first? Because I'm gonna go real bold here. And this is when we say bold predictions, this is not one for the faint of heart. All right. You have to be mentally tough for this. Right? You got to be willing to go on the limb. So I'm going to go on Devon A-Chain over 200 total yards in this game. Jason, it's not for the faint of heart.
Man,
I didn't like your face. I didn't like your face reaction, by the way. If that hits,
no, that's bold. That's bold. I give you credit for that. All right.
I just like him in space. I told you. I like him in space in this game.
I mean, not just a bold prediction, but almost like a plea is to get Malik Washington involved vertically, not horizontally, meaning let him run his routes. He has yet, this is insane to me, he has yet to score a receiving touchdown in his career. Let this be the game where it happens. Bold prediction.
Doesn't
Malik Washington.
Yes,
it does. I've been sitting on it.
Sorry.
All right, here it is. When he does score a reception touchdown, he will become the 5th Miami Dolphins wide receiver to score via special teams return, rushing, as well as an eventual reception touchdown. The other guys, one of them not so much heard of, Freddie Solomon. The other 3, Dolphins legends. So
we had one on our show, didn't we?
Jarvis Land. No, we did not.
Oh, we did not.
It was not Mark Clayton. It was not Mark Clayton.
Oh,
two of them are bona fide Dolphin legends in Jarvis Landry
yeah, sorry
and
about that.
Ted Jr.
Nat Moore.
I mean,
Nat Moore.
Nope. The other one was
Jason's cooking with this.
Jakeem Grant.
Jason cooks with this.
Jakeem Grant, Jarvis Landry, Ted Ginn Jr., Freddie Solomon. The only Dolphins wide receivers to hit that triple crown in scoring, special teams, reception.
Is that why you picked that? Because you just want that to happen already so we can talk about it.
No, not that I want to
about this for a while, right?
It would also mean that Malik would have or will do it in the least amount of games. It would be his 21st game. You know, I think Jakeem did it in 27 games. The other guys into the 30s, but what have you. I like fun stats that shrink the pool to a very exclusive fraternity. Now, a lot of running backs have done that, but running backs, it's easier to get a reception and a rushing touchdown. Not many receivers can claim anywhere a rushing touchdown, let alone also special teams. So I would like Washington to join that exclusive club. Get him involved vertically. That's my bold prediction. Finally, I have a tweet that's been in my saved drafts for 3 weeks. Come on. I got to send on that.
I just realized mine's a little more bold. Mine's a little crazy. It's more
Here's a little crazy.
But I wanted to go out. That's the point of it. I wanted to go out. You know, everybody's going to do a bold. I can say Dolphins defense is going to get 2+ interceptions. I want to do some. I just like, because I guess it's more of what I like in the matchup with A-Chain. It doesn't make sense that small back would be good in this game. I'm telling you, they struggle with speed. I just like him in different ways. Like, it doesn't not necessarily have to be as we're being spammed again. We have made it, guys. We're being spammed by.
Now we're in the college football world.
We have made it. We've made it. We've made it big time when that happens. All right, Curtis. So clearly, yours is Malik Washington gets one touchdown in this game.
Yeah, Malik Washington gets into the end zone.
Curtis, give me a bold predictions. Come on.
10 pressures between Jonah and Strange.
Ooh. That's that. Thank you, Curtis, for that. I don't know if that's bold or not.
No, probably not.
So I'm the only one playing the bowl game. Next week, boys, come back with more heat. I want a tougher bowl. That's your homework assignment. All right. Georgia's right out shot 96 wins. All right, predictions for the game. Curtis, do the Dolphins come out of Cleveland with a victory?
No. 16-13 Cleveland.
Sarni.
I'm going to keep it consistent with what I put on an article today on Dolphins Wire on the betting preview. The Browns will get over 18 points just barely. The Dolphins will fall a little short. 19-17 Cleveland.
Oh, nice. I like that one.
I'm going to go here. I'm going to hope that our difference is Tua and they have Gabriel. I'm going to hope that's the difference, right? Maybe that's me being a little. The winds make me less confident about this. The weather is making me less confident. I'm going to go. I think we can turn over Gabriel. Dolphins win 20-13. I don't have high confidence in this.
That's a bold prediction.
I switched my bold prediction to that. Yeah, it should be fun. Again, it's an interesting one. I know it's crazy to sound, but it's an interesting one if I imagine, because both of these teams, man, are there's storylines about their GM, their coach. It's like, which coach gets fired after the game? Stefanski's on the hot seat. McDaniel's apparently not on the hot seat. God knows why. Who knows? But Stephen Ross. So there's a lot of storyline and narratives, kind of in this game. So It should be interesting. The 2 left-handed quarterbacks. But again, we will be live. Curtis, I don't know if you're joining.
I'm going to try.
We will be live. There's no other post-game show you better watch. We will be live right after the game this week. Last week we weren't because I was out of the game, but right after the game we'll be live. You never know. We have special guests pop in and out. We might have our weekly segment on this next week as well. So join us right after the game tomorrow. We'll break it all down. With you never know who shows up. We got a great lineup, and so join us for the post-game show, and of course all through the week with our Dolphins coverage. Well, we went along. This is a fun one. I will say this was a fun one. This is one of the funner ones on Saturday. So we'll see you guys. Thank everybody in the chat for joining us early Saturday morning. Make sure you guys comment on the video after. Leave a comment if you like the video or not in the description, and we'll get back. I'll get back to you, and also the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to help support us. We appreciate it. We also, I'm supposed to mention it. We accept the super chat and the chat this and the chat that, all that great crazy stuff. And again, it doesn't go in our pockets. It just helps put together what it costs to put together this show. So if you want to, we appreciate it. We won't turn it down. But I was told, why don't you ask for that? And I have a hard time doing it. But yeah, we're set up for all the chat, super chat, whatever you want to call it, all those fun things. All right, fellas, and great show, guys. Have a good one. YouTube blockchain. Thank you so much, James. We appreciate it. All right, for Curtis, for Jason Sarney, for myself, we will see you after the game. Hopefully, it's a Miami dot. Well, some people might want to. You never know nowadays. Thank you guys so much. Stay safe. Have a great weekend.
Fins up, everybody.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, everybody.